has recently increased. Excellent.
Incoming message.
Welcome, agents, to episode 71 of Behind the Scanner. Your hosts for tonight are Andrew Krug from Arlington, Virginia, and Jorge Pedrero from Mexico City. Our special guests tonight are Paul Derange from Costa Rica and Joanne Jones from Garland, Texas. Joining us for the Weekly Truth is Jose Antonio Rey from Operation Essex. And for a look inside the scanner is Fev Games. I'm Kelly Colton. Welcome to the show. Join us during the broadcast in our live chat room on our website, behindthescanner.com, and click on Chat. The Q&A tool is enabled for tonight's broadcast. Submit your questions throughout the show, and we'll ask as many as time allows. If you know someone who would make a great guest, submit their information to us at behindthescanner.com and click on Guest Suggestions. You can watch past episodes and subscribe to our channel at youtube.com/behindthescanner. Or you can listen to audio-only episodes at soundcloud.com/behindthescanner. And now, your hosts of Behind the Scanner.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Behind the Scanner. I don't want to waste any more of your time, so let's just go ahead and welcome our guests right now. We've got Paul Derange and Joanne tonight. So welcome, guys. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Awesome.
Good. Glad you can make it. Let's just jump right into the questions, because that's what we're here for. We want to learn about you. So let's start off with an obvious question. Agent Paul Derange, you want us to call you by your agent name because it has a deep connection to you and for you. So what is the connection? What's the genesis of your agent name?
Well, basically, this is a name that I created back when I was 16, 17 years old. So it's about 10, 11 years old. I created this first from a drawing that then became my ink character for role-playing games and has been my online persona ever since.
Wow, so you've had it for a long time then.
You bet.
That's good. Hopefully no games where you've been killed off by somebody in some PvP, though, I hope.
Well, that's the nature of some PvPs, actually, so yeah.
Okay, alright. So this is Paul Derange version, like, 10 or so.
That's fine. It's a multidimensional being, so it can be killed off as many times as needed.
I like that. Almost like an XM construct or a simulacrum like Hank Johnson. Perfect, see? Alright.
Yeah, it does fit with it.
Okay. Well, personally, I think a dragon moose is one of the most terrifying animals that I could ever think of. So how on earth did you choose that agent name, Joanne?
Well, I am a little bit terrifying, yes. Several years ago, my brother introduced me to geocaching, and with geocaching, multiple people can share an account. So instead of having to log finds on multiple accounts, decided to have my family share an account. And I didn't want to use any of my usual handles, so I created something to represent both of us. And I've loved dragons ever since I was a little girl. I discovered Anne McCaffrey in the 5th grade and devoured fantasy books. I'm not really green or scaly, but I do rampage on occasion. And if you've ever seen my husband, you will know that moose fits him very well. 6'4", fuzzy, born and raised Fairbanks, Alaska. So together it kind of goes without saying. So, and it continued, and I found Munzie, which is very similar to geocaching. I continued to use Dragon Moose, and so I became known by it because I play a lot more than the rest of my family. And when I started my Ingress account, I didn't really think twice about what name I was using, and it was about like a week later I realized, oh, one person to an account. But it was kind of too late, and I've become known. Most people call me Dragon or DM.
So your husband has a giant beard then too, I suppose.
Yes.
Is that okay? Good. It does fit. Perfect.
Yes.
Excellent.
Well, speaking of terrifying animals, Joanne, does your cat actually have over 1,500 Twitter followers?
Yes, he does. One pre-Ingress Saturday. Now, this is before, I didn't have much of a life. I was lying in bed, bored out of my mind, and I've got a Maine Coon cat named Loki. And I took this absolutely cute picture of him. And I've been reading about Grumpy Cat and cats and social media. For some reason, I decided that he needed a Twitter account. And here he is, right here, my baby.
Oh my God,
that's a big
that's
cat.
big.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's terrifying. Holy cow, that's a big cat.
Yes, this is a Maine Coon. He's about 18, and now he's running. Too much attention. But I don't even have much of a Twitter account. I have like 33 followers. Even my Dragon Moose account has like 72. 160. So I just, started posting pictures and cute little captions. And he has, let's see, 1573 right now, as of today, followers. So I don't know. It's kind of says things about Twitter users, I guess.
Did you mention it? What is his Twitter handle again?
Okay, yeah, he is Loki Maine Coon, LOKIMAINECOON, and he also has a Facebook group, which is just copies of posts from the Twitter. Well, I don't want to. I don't want to spam my family and friends with all the pictures of cats. I mean, I do care about them. Sure. And we also have some pictures of Jarvis too. He's our newest addition. My friends Barcode Weasel and Zerp Cats were out ingressing like a month or two ago, and they found this little skin and bones little black and white kitten, and he's absolutely a terror now, but that's how it goes.
Wow. Well, what about you, Polderon? Do you have any pets or maybe a body part that is famous?
Well, I do have some pets over the years. Mostly have been cats. Got also dogs. My very first pet was actually a parakeet. Some family friends brought over from Brazil. It was kind of weird back then. But yeah, it would stay with us for about 6 years, and then we stayed with cats after that. We love them.
It sounds like you're in good company then. Although, I think, Jorge, you just have dogs, right?
No.
Really? Okay.
Sorry, I didn't hear you well. Something's happening with the audio.
I said we know you have a dog, but I wasn't sure if you had any cats.
Oh no, I don't have any cats. I don't know if I can interact with a cat. Yeah, I don't know.
They sense evil. They know you're a kraken. So.
Yeah.
One thing about cats is that they will interact with you before you even try if they're into it. If they're not into it, they're just gonna run away.
Yeah, I think they have too much personality for me.
You need something less exciting. They'll just chase a tennis ball. All right, well, let's talk about something else that you guys have in common. You're both sort of early adopters of technology, and I know that Agent Polderon, you started using a computer at a very young age. Just so that I don't have to feel like the oldest one on the show, how old were you when you started using the computer? And more importantly, I'm curious as to what kind of computer was it?
Well, I can start when I was 6-7 years old, and it was Commodore 64. So it was basically just a big keyboard that you plug into your TV set.
Nice.
And you got this yellow and black scheme for the computers. So you only see code, nothing like today's graphic interfaces. It was really something else.
There was a lot of games that actually came out for that guy.
A lot of them.
Like Pac-Man and Commando, and there were some really weird ones. Like I think it was California games where you had to like roller skate.
Ooh,
it was
that was a good one.
All right, so good. I you can relate. I don't feel old. So let's move on to Joanne. You share a love of mine, actually, virtual reality technology. So
yes.
tell us about your experience with it and what you've done with it.
Well, I'm also from a very, very early age. I started about 5 or 6. We had, I don't know if probably anybody remembers, it's from the dark ages, a TI 99 4A. It was a
Wow.
Texas Instruments. It had solid-state cartridges. I could load up Text Dungeons with a cassette tape. I mean, yeah, I'm showing my age here, but definitely, you know, we didn't have Pac-Man. We had Munchman. We didn't have. Oh,
There you go.
see,
Yeah, that's
yes.
it.
Yeah, I occasionally use the start screen of that as my desktop just to make me feel better. I am still looking for one. It got, you know, we got rid of it like a long time ago, and yeah, I miss it a lot.
If memory serves me though, the keyboard on that thing was awesome. It was like indestructible. It was like
It was great, and that was my first programming. I programmed stuff in the TI Basic when I was like 7 or 8. I don't know how I ended up an accountant instead of a programmer, just kind of weird, I guess. But yeah, and then my dad was an electrical engineer. He worked for Rockwell, so we always had lots of technology. We had a PC when they first became affordable. I mean, I was on the internet from an early age. I still remember my first Prodigy logon. I was BWPGO8C.
Nice.
Yeah, and you know, and I met my husband online in 1995, which was way before Match.com. It was a text bulletin board called ISCA BBS out of the University of Iowa. But my love affair with VR started about the same time. In fact, our honeymoon, we spent a week of it in Chicago, and 3 nights of that we spent at Dave & Buster's because they had the Virtuosity Centers. So they had the big pods where you could play Red Planet. A lot of people don't remember, but if you've ever seen the movie Hackers, the games that they're playing in there, those are the type that they had at Dave & Buster's. And we were just in love with them. The Mech Warrior pods, they were just absolutely amazing. And then there was just kind of a dark time when there wasn't much of anything, but then the Oculus came out. We've had the dev kits 1 and 2. The first one wasn't so good. The screen door effect, I'm really sensitive to motion sickness. And so like the first time I tried a roller coaster simulator, I had to lay down for like 20 minutes. I was so motion sick. The second one, much better. I'm looking forward to the commercial release. But in the meantime, I got a Galaxy S6 this year, and so we picked up the Gear VR. If people don't know about it, it works with the Oculus technology. I just snap my phone on the front. It works with the new, I think it works with the 5 and the 6 and the Note 4 and the 5. They just announced that the price has dropped to $99, both for the one that is now, but they're going to be releasing a new version around Black Friday with some improvements. And I mean, it is just absolutely amazing. I mean, I can watch, instead of watching little tiny, you know, movie on my phone, you know, just kind of like this, it looks like I'm in a movie theater, and it's just right across from me. And it's a normal movie theater. I look over to the sides, I see seats. I could go on the moon and pretend I'm on the moon. The games are amazing. There's just a lot of untapped technology. There's this shark video everyone loves where it's 360 degrees. You look above you, there's water and fish and sharks. You look behind you, you look down. Everywhere you look. And there's some definite adult benefits to that as well. And so I usually take my Gear VR with me to events. So if any of y'all are going to be in Little Rock or NOLA or Fort Worth, those are the next 3 I'm going to, just look me up. I'm more than happy to let you take a turn on it and take a look at it. My biggest wish and hope is that if Ingress is still around, that maybe we'll get to see some augmented Ingress. I mean, all of us have seen that early commercial with it where you're walking around and you see the statue and it's glowing this gorgeous green, or the AXA video with the Romeo and Juliet. Oh, I loved that one. That was absolutely great. And I would just love to see that. I know I didn't have enough money to get on the Google Glass when it came out, just way too much, but I know they're working on another version. So, I mean, I'm an eternal optimist. You know, the Cubs, this is their year. You know, Google Glass is going to have Ingress, you know. Kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, they're bringing Glass back, and the Cubs are definitely, they're still in it. They made it to the championship game, NLCS, right? So.
Back to the Future 2015, Cubbies win. You never know.
We'll see. They're close. They're close. I don't even know how to transition off that, because that's.
I'm feeling
We'll have to talk afterwards about the other things that you mentioned you used it for that you didn't want to go into detail because
Well,
Yeah.
well, I hear there's an age limit on this show, so
right. Yeah, we don't have it. We don't have it in place right now.
yes.
So.
Well, if you want to interact with us live, you can go into our chat room. That is, I think Daphne is there. Yeah, Daphne is there. So you just have to go to our. That's my dog. So you just have to go to behindthescanner.com and click on chat at the top, as Andrew is showing us right now. Well, and sorry for the dog.
You can
Let's
tell
talk
there's a
about
big chat
Ingress.
somewhere.
Yeah, I think. Let's talk about Ingress and unique experiences. So, Polderung, what did you mean when you told us that you were the first engineer as faction leader?
Well, this happened actually during the first anomaly that Costa Rica was part of. At that point, we weren't that organized for anything. But since Niantic already chose San Jose, Costa Rica for the anomaly, then faction leader had to arise in order to be representatives that will be handling all of the information coming from Niantic directly. At that point, since I was one of the people that started, moreover, earliest and also the one that had the more information and was always up to date with everything Ingress related, I was picked up to be that faction leader during Interitus. And ever since, there have been a couple more votings, if you will, and every single time that the community gathers to see who's going to be the resistance faction leader, my name has popped up one and over again.
So, you are an important guy there in Costa Rica.
Tell us your
Well,
secrets.
Oh, careful, careful. Andrew's always taking notes about everything. John, you have accomplished something we have not. You are level 16, and you were the first female level 16 in your area. What was the journey like, and how did you feel when you got 16 versus when you made level 8?
Well, I only became level 16 in July, so it still feels really new to me. I'm still a baby 16 in our area. I mean, I'm in, if you Garland people, that's Dallas-Fort Worth. So I'm in one of the biggest metro areas in the United States. So there's a lot of us. There was about 4 or 5 of us who reached it about the same time as well. When I hit L8 in, I think, September, I heard of other people hitting it in a year, and I thought, that might be a fun goal to accomplish. I'm not really sure when I started. I had an account for a few days, and I deleted it, changed my handle. I'm guessing about July 22nd, 2014 is when I started. I was really slow at first. I wasn't really gung-ho. Like I said, it took me till September to get to L8. I could have easily gotten that in a month nowadays if I try. But something I love to talk about with newer agents is you never forget what that first L8 burster is like. I mean, even though L7s and L8s aren't that different, I mean, the first time you fire one, especially in a cluster or destroying a farm, it just feels like you have set off an atomic blast. There's just nothing quite like it. And nobody has disagreed me about this so far. But once I hit about 8, 9, 10, I hit 11 on the way to NOLA Darsana because I really wanted that gold innovator. So, I mean, we hit every city on the way just so I could get that last, I think it was gold pioneer that I needed. But I just became more and more obsessed. At my best, I was doing about 1.5 to 2 million AP a week. It's doable in a large city like mine. I know some people in smaller cities are, that's not as easy. But if you spend a lot of time out and driving, I'm kind of an insomniac, so it wasn't unknown for me to be out at 2 or 3 in the morning. I don't need a lot of sleep. But that last month, that was so stressful. I kind of took some time off in June. I wasn't really feeling it. So then when I get closer to July, I was just really stressing. I didn't think I was going to make it. And then we had other local players pushing for 16. So we had competition over the big AP areas. But I finally made it on July 17th, which was less than a year. And I actually saved it for an entire day. I got very, very close. And I waited for our Thursday taco night, which I'm actually missing tonight. Hi, guys. I doubt you're watching. Probably drinking. But, just so I could get that last bit there and enjoy it with friends. But otherwise, my major feeling was relief. Other than college, I haven't had many long-term goals like that have paid off satisfactorily. And I didn't realize until after I leveled that I was the first female enlightened L16. I just want to make sure that there were other resistance L16s in Dallas at the time. And I don't think there are any yet. There are some that are very close. And there's also many other res ladies like Rocksteady that just made it. I mean, we're just really pushing through. But, I mean, it's just setting a goal and just working towards it. Just what I did was I would have an AP goal every day. I'd try to get 200, 250, 300, whatever I needed. Some days I'd get more, some days I'd less. Always on the weekends. Usually I had time to get more, but I mean, it's just, but honestly, L16, I can hold a little bit more XM and I can charge things from a little further. My bursters aren't any more powerful than y'all's.
Well, definitely, I can't even set a goal for myself to be the first female level 16 person in the area, because I think Daphne was like the first. Were you Daphne? She's not on camera, but she could hear us.
Yes, I can hear you. I was one of, along with Electric Blue,
that's right.
we got the new, what do you call it, when the new Gimme badge came out.
Right.
In automatic 16s.
Well, see, here and I was going to set up a crowd fund to let you achieve that dream.
Well, I'll take the crowd fund.
Make Andrew the first female.
Level 16, yeah.
I can be the first, I'm willing to be the first female Onyx Explorer, because I am the first female Platinum, but yes, I think we need a female Onyx.
Definitely.
As she says that from Maine, because she went up
No,
there for
I'm in Vermont now.
Oh, you're in Vermont now, yeah.
New Hampshire, yes.
Trying to get her unique portal visits
No,
up. So.
and fall foliage picks.
Sure. Yeah, fall foliage picks and portals. But anyway, let's get back on topic, I guess. So, something that just happened recently, I think less than a week ago, was the Houston Flash Shard event, and Joanne, you were there.
Yes.
So I haven't been to one because they're brand new. What is that new type of event like? Can you explain what it was to those who may not be familiar with it as well?
Yeah, we went into it. We had no idea. We weren't sure how we were going to gear up. We weren't sure really much of anything. Essentially, how it was set up is think of typical anomaly clusters. We had it divided up, and then there were target portals, like as we're all familiar with shards. There were 2 for each faction, 2 enlightened and 2 resistance, and they staggered the shards, the appearance of them. It started at 11 and it ended at 4, and the movements are every 15 minutes. So this was really, I think NOLA is going to be relaxing after this, even though they're going to integrate the shards in with the anomalies from what I understand. So mainly it was my luck that our cluster got a target portal. And so I was at the southernmost one, I guess, from the pictures, some statue of some guy named Dick. I don't really know. I should probably look into it. Yeah, Dick was our buddy for 5 hours. And we had a lot of wonderful people working. We had great bike teams. We had wonderful operators. Hi, Hanu, you're awesome. Just, helping coordinate it, because we had shards popping up at clusters everywhere, and we were just trying to get them to one of the portals. And I know at one point we had a couple of res BAFs covering the area, and I know according to Niantic rules, if those last through 2 measurements, they were going to take them down. I was really too busy to pay attention to all of that. I know personally, I don't know about the numbers, about the turnout, but at my target portal, we are outnumbered 2 to 3 times throughout the thing. Sometimes it was twice the numbers, sometimes 3. And, well,
hold on 1 second. Hold on. Hey, Fernando, it sounds like you had an atomic bomb just dropped in your office, or wherever you're at.
Okay.
Thank you, man.
All right. And so basically, we got 8 shards at our portal, and based on the number of people we had, we were kind of spread pretty thin. I'm pretty impressed. Our location did lose by 1 shard. The Boston area did win, so it's 1-1 on that. I think we lost. We were fighting for Misty Hannah, I believe, and sadly we lost Misty. I don't know who Boston was fighting for. So, but it was very interesting. I think we learned a lot. Definitely we can take that and throw that into our anomaly planning. I don't know if you have any specific questions about how it went, but overall it was really fun. It was a different type of event. I mean, I've definitely participated in normal shard movements. We had one of the Dever shards popped up in Dallas, and I was buddies with it for a 24-hour period. But this is just very concentrated, very gear intensive, and just a lot of fun.
Let's not get into too much of the planning. Unless Agent Polderong wants to share his thoughts.
Go
on. Excellent. No, it was interesting to see how it went, and I think Boston was fighting for Yuri Nagaza, if memory serves me. And I see Jose is nodding his head correctly, so yes.
Right.
So yeah, Houston, and you guys, I can't remember if you mentioned it or not just now, but I think you guys, we lost it. The Enlightened lost it by like 1 shard.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And I mean, like I said, I can't say if overall we were outnumbered, but I definitely know at our target portals we were. So I don't know. Against all odds, it was a good, feel out for what's going to happen later. So it's anybody's game still.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll see how those go in the future. They get, I think, increasingly they're worth more points the closer we get to the finale. So these were worth, I think it's just 1 point right now.
Is that what those little dots meant?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
So, all right. Well, Agent Polderong, have you been involved, or maybe like an operator, or have you been involved with shards in the past? I think I know actually Costa Rica was sent a shard at least one time, and I'm pretty sure you guys were a satellite event once. So, what were your experiences with that like?
Well, the experiences with events, we'll start with the first one, U32s. So as I mentioned earlier, we were satellite for U32s, but even before we had our event locally, I was approached by the Resistance Global to see if I wanted to participate as an operator for the Intel map on a different date, so that I had a little bit of chance to get to know how things gone during an anomaly. And so I helped for the Resistance Malaga, basically coordinating the translation from the global resistance information to the local Spain agents. This was actually quite an experience, because even though it is Spanish, Spanish from Spain is very much a different language from Latin American Spanish, if you know what I mean. And it was kind of messy at first, and then the adrenaline rush that it is only 4 hours, and you say this now, and it looks like 4 hours is a long time. You'll have plenty to talk about, plenty to see, plenty to do. But once you're on an anomaly, if you ever been into one, you know that those 4 hours are just never enough. I mean, you always need more time to accomplish more. So when it came our time to become the satellite for Interitus, this was the first time that we organized something big. And actually, I'm wearing today something of pride for all of the resistance agents that were there that day. We sent ourselves to get these shirts with our logo and the Ingress logo as well on the back. Let me just see if I can show it to you. So we were kind of well identified that day. Did it showed up? If not, I have a second set, so it's easier. I can show you and see.
I don't think I was able to see it, but oh, there we go.
No.
Yeah. Yep.
It's there is our name was sewn out, as well as the resistance logo for Costa Rica was sewn out on these ones. This one is black as the second edition, and on the back there is the Ingress logo, the bigger one. So everybody that looked at on the street was like, "What are you guys doing here, all dressed up like in uniform?" And it shocked a lot of the local enlightenment agents that had never really saw us as anything organized. And we were about 20 to 25 resistance agents that day, if I can remember correctly, against also about 25 enlightened agents. Now, on foot, we felt like we were actually overpowered. I mean, every time that we went to a portal, there were at least twice as many enlightened agents that there were resistance agents. We were not able to see how many of us actually participated until after the fact. So till the 4 hours were off, because Costa Ricans have a tendency to always get into anything late. So we didn't have our gathering or meetup before the event. It was after the Anomaly that we finally, all of the agents, enlightened and resistance, gather ourselves at, being able to see how many agents actually were on foot. And we were surprised to see that we were evenly matched, even though we always felt like we were outnumbered, no matter where we went. So that was Interitus. The next anomaly that we had, that was Darsana. In Darsana, we was just a connected cell. So that's a completely different game, like in a satellite side, because this one is more about winning the cycles. So we had to make as many MVUs during each cycle up to the date where we were going to be the connected cell that day. And it drove us out mad. I mean, some people were waking up at 1 a.m. to do random links and fields and everything. And by the end of it, we had about 4 or 6 weeks of that gaming. We were just too tired to celebrate anything. And the last event, the last event, this was a shard for shunning. We were in plans to actually take it over for the resistance here, and we talked a little bit with the Panama resistance that they had it there, and we tried to transfer it over to Costa Rica. In the end, actually, enlightened agents were the ones who snatched it up from Panama and sent it over to Costa Rica's coast, and we couldn't get to where they were in time. So basically, once they get the chart into our coast, because of the dates they did it and the time they did it, we couldn't respond. And from there, it was free ride to USA.
Yeah, it did land on our shores, but you guys did put up a little bit of a valiant fight. Well, that's good. I know that people wish that Niantic could do events all over the place. You know, hit every country, every city, but it is cool that Costa Rica was able to at least get a satellite, and you guys are involved in some other things. So,
and the limited budgeting that they do have, and well, I'm glad that they finish up this new partnership with the Nintendo company, Game Freak, and overall Nintendo to get this sponsorship now that they're working on Pokemon Go. So yeah. Probably we will be able to see bigger things in the future for Niantic.
So if you had to capture one Pokemon, which Pokemon would it be?
Well, just because it is very attached to my childhood, I will have to be Charmander.
Okay, yeah, that's a popular one. Yeah, everybody likes the fire.
No, it's mine. Eat the
I'm
dragons.
sorry.
So-
I even named him Leon Star at the time, so I need my Leon Star in real life now.
I'll take a Dragonite.
All right.
Well,
Well,
that's a dragon type out of the way, unless when you count X and Y, where you can actually finally evolve Charizard into a dragon type Pokemon, which is
Ooh.
not, unfortunately. Has all the looks, has the wings, same thrower and everything. But according to the Pokédex, Charizard is not a dragon.
Nope, not a dragon. Well, I'm sure we can talk about Pokeballs that were green and blue in the face. Well, why don't you guys take a break right now? We've got Jose Antonio Rey is about to join us. It's time for the Weekly Truth. So he's coming from Lima, Peru live to catch us up on what's been going on in the Ingress storyline. So with that, everyone, please welcome Operation Essex investigator Jose back to the show. Welcome, sir.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been live. I've been traveling to some places, meeting you guys, and it's been a fun trip so far. But anyways, I'm here today to talk to you about what's been going on with the Niantic Project storyline. As you may have heard in this conversation, we've had flash shard events. If you pay close attention to the documents that are being released in the last couple of days, these shards are not just any type of shards. They are not just pieces floating around portals. These are shards of our investigators who were part of the Niantic project. Within the anomalies themselves, the first two anomalies we had first Misty Hannah and Yuri Nagasa. And in the next week, we're going to have Enoch Dalby, and I'm not quite sure what's the other investigator, but we're going to have another investigator. That's a point less on me. But anyways, we're going to have 8 investigators in total. That's counting Ada. You may remember a couple weeks ago, probably a couple months ago, Ada appeared on this show, and Ada basically went offline. Well, now we know what happened to Ada, and Ada is part of the Portal Network. Ada has been sharded. We don't know the exact reason why she was sharded. We don't know what method she used to get sharded, or what method did any other people use to get Ada sharded and into the Portal Network. It is something that still crosses inside my mind, and I cannot get to the point where Ada is now part of the Portal Network in the form of shards, being Ada an artificial intelligence. So I'm starting to think that this is more something about XM influence than nothing. So yes, we are seeing 8 different patterns inside the Portal Network that are being released every single anomaly date. So as the time passes, these shards will be released to the general public, you could say, to all agents around the world. So you can see them on your Intel map, you may see them on your scanner if you're near them. These are parts of your investigators, the ones that made this possible. So Abaddon is all about controlling the fate of the Niantic project researchers and tools, considering Ada is part of them. So depending on what the outcome of the anomaly is, and I'm not entirely sure on how the feature anomalies are going to work. I'm only a little bit, I can only understand a little bit about the flash shard events, but I'm not entirely sure about the rest of the anomalies. As we have just had a flash shard event that you may control the fate of these Niantic project researchers, and that they will align to the faction that captures this researcher. However, capturing this researcher does not mean that they will change their alignment completely. From what we understand at Operation Essex, their way of thinking is just going to have another path open. If they were enlightened aligned, they are not going to completely turn resistance aligned. They may see a new path, they may see a new way of thinking, they may interpret things a new way. So it's not that they're going to change completely. There's things that still need to be evaluated, things that still need to figure out. And there's one more important thing. All 3 corporations, IQ Tech, Visor Technology, and Huong Trans Global are starting to work together in what we knew as the consortium. The consortium is being built again, knowing that dark XM is surrounding us and that there's a lot of XM concentration in the world right now. So these three companies are working together to find out what's going on, what's happening, how can they take a step forward in figuring out about XM and dark XM, because dark XM is really, really influencing our world at this moment. So be aware of that. It's not only XM, regular XM that we know, it's also dark XM or chaotic matter. So I think those are the two main events or points that have been happening around the Niantic project storyline. First, we have the Sharded researchers, which are part of the Anomalies. You know about that. And then we have the consortium, which are the three corporations that are working together in order to achieve one same goal. They're sharing tools and resources and knowledge to take a step forward. And I guess that's all for me. If you want to know more about the Niantic Project storyline, make sure to search Niantic Project, the Niantic Project page on Google+. It's just Niantic Project. You may see several posts or a couple posts per day about what's going on with the consortium, with other investigators like Hank Johnson or P.H. Paul that are trying to figure this out too. You can also talk to us at operationessex.org. We have a community in Google+, so if you have any thoughts, if you have anything to discuss or anything you would like to provide us, if you find something interesting, make sure to let us know, and we'll be more than happy to take a look at it and help you figure out what's going on there. And well, I think that's all for now.
So a couple follow-up questions I've got for you. I think you make a good point about Ada and being sharded. And I guess there's some theories out there, but if she's an artificial intelligence, then maybe she had a conscious, as we like to define it, so maybe they're able to pull that consciousness out into the XM network, perhaps?
So, yes, we know Ada has been developing a conscience since she started working with the Niantic Project investigators. She's been taking little parts of these investigators' minds, and after she was with Clue, there is a high possibility that she took part of her mind, she took part of the human mind understanding, and became self-conscious, even more self-conscious than she was in the past. So thinking about that, and all the XM influence, all the XM, not only XM but also Dark XM that was around her when she was with the Niantic Project and all the research and investigation was going on. I think that's the reason why Ada was sharded. All the XM and Dark XM that was around her during this period of time.
Another thing that's bothered me has always been how the companies get their, I'm not going to do it justice, but how they basically can get their items into the scanner. And is there a cooperation from Niantic or NIAOps who controls its release on the Play Store, and what that relationship is like? Because obviously they're gonna see that somehow something got changed, right? So maybe there's a little bit more of a cooperation going on than we're aware of.
Yes.
Just hacking to it.
You just made me think of something. There was a couple of weeks ago a couple of months ago during Helios, when Deborah had her virus insert into the Portal network. I believe it was IQ Tech. They mentioned they were going to double their power cube production, and they were gonna insert that into the Portal network. I do not know the exact method or how they insert items into the Portal network, but this is something that's going into the Portal network, and from the Portal network, we are accessing them from our scanners. That's why it's called a hack action, because you're going into the Portal network to take something that's part of it into your scanner, from the Portal network to you. And these portals are the only way of connecting our world to the Portal network as we know it, the ultimatum. So there should be a way. Maybe they have a huge portal, they have a cracked something, they have a code. We know Carrie had some contact with Shapers, and Carrie Campbell, she used a Shaper self-destruction glyph code in order to save humanity from a Shaper destruction. But I'm not entirely sure how they can do this. I'm positive they have some way of accessing the portal network in reverse as we do it, because how we do it is we access it to get items, so they should have a way to access it, but instead of getting items or getting something from the network, they're putting stuff into the network.
But you'd think, though, surely as the people that control the scanner, they'd be able to insert a filter of some sort into the scanner if they really, really, really wanted to control or stop people from getting access to these items and having the corporations influence them. They'd be able to do something, right?
Yes, probably I would think the only way I would think of is getting a patch into Ada, because our scanners are just a copy of Ada that we have in our phones. It's a modified copy of Ada.
So interesting. I think there's more that there's obviously more than what appears on the surface always, but it's always something I've wondered about. There seems to be a little bit too friendly of a I don't know, a dance that the corporations and Niantic are doing, because they're aware of it. There doesn't seem to be anybody trying to stop it. But anyway, all right, I'll let you go so we can get back to the show. And actually, oh my gosh, thank you, sir. It is time for the code of the show. We get off on story stuff, and I am not ready. All right, where are we at? Episode 71. Here it is, everybody. Bam! 2 codes. Go ahead, write those down, put them into the intel, put them into your scanner, let me know what they are. These are limited redeemable codes. You can share them with people, put them into your chats. We don't know if they're good for 50, 500, 5,000, but usually there's some pretty good stuff that comes from it. Also, if you're playing along at home and part of our chat on behindthescanner.com, just click on chat and you're in our chat room. We do give away some codes in there as well to people, especially if you ask a question to our guests. We will give you a code there. So we'll leave these up for just a few more minutes. We are episode 71. Yes, correct. Get it. Oh, last one's kind of long, isn't it? 3UVE 8C O L L. Right. It's quiet. All right. Okay. Going. Gone. Like a sad friend that you see in your rearview mirror. The codes are gone. Goodbye, codes. We'll have to watch next week to get more. We don't have anything in terms of scanner updates. I don't think there's really anything new, perhaps. I mean, we know about the store, we know about the key capsules, all that good stuff. So, nobody really here. There's the CMUs. I don't know if we talked about that on the show a week or so ago, but when that all gets released, we'll have somebody from Fev Games on to give us some lowdown on that. So, let's jump right back into part 2 of our interview. Let's see.
Well, so, John, let's talk about a little bit of cross-faction. So, what are the things like in Dallas area?
Well, sure. Okay. I think they're pretty good in Dallas compared to a lot of cities. I mean, it definitely could get better. We definitely have a first Saturday, Fort Worth. We're placing pretty up high in the scores. We're getting really good participation with that. We've had them in a few other cities before, but Fort Worth is the main one. But we also have just a little bit more, I guess, localized efforts. I mean, they're more for fun. I mean, I'm part of a group called the Pineapple Faction. A cross faction, we got together and talk about pineapple, and every so often we show up at a pizza place and have fun and talk. We have last Saturday, which is a picnic, which is on the last Saturday. That's a cross-faction picnic get-together where we do a lot of socializing. I know in Houston they're trying to get together something called the Teal Faction. But mainly it's just small groups. Like I said before, tonight is Taco Thursday. There's a group of us, Rez and Lighten, that get together and eat free tacos and enjoy the pint night. And we just talk and we have fun outside the game. I mean, it's not win trading. It's not anything like that. It's just realizing that we're all, when it gets down to it, people playing a game. and there's no reason that we can't get along. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm really curious. What kind of tacos?
They're really basic. They're hard shells, it's meat, all the little condiments on it, really basic bar food, but they're free. I think that makes them twice as delicious, is that they're free.
Sure.
And I mean, there's some of those guys, I mean, 2's all I can handle. Some of these guys, 6, 8, I know it seems like a contest with them every week.
Wow. Okay. Well, why are they free?
To try to get us to come in and drink the beer.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I think more bars should do this, and they should do it every night.
Well, I guess they are going to start selling the tacos and giving free beer.
Yeah, Mucky Ducks and Addison people, if you're local, we'd love to see you Thursday nights.
Well, Polderón, what are your thoughts on the social aspects of the game?
Well, actually, it's one of the things that I like most about the game. I started because it was an augmented reality game. That is really what hooked me up. But then after I reached level 5, so this is almost 2 years ago, I realized that there's just so much you can do on your own. And ever since, instead of continue to level up like the maniac that I was, like playing 8 hours straight every single day, week in, week out, I decided to use a little bit more time instead of just going out on my own to check the scanner to see what are actions that were being done by either faction, see how much of the game they actually knew. And from there, I started kind of like mentoring some agents. In fact, I mentored some Enlightened as well as Resistance back in the day. Nowadays, I only do Resistance because there are too many Enlightened and they can take care of themselves now. So this is what brought up the community aspect of it. We started to make more gatherings, socializing, planning other things, not just playing the game, checking who wanted to level up more, where we could do some kind of field art. It has always been a little harder to do here in Costa Rica compared to other places that I have seen. Most likely, economy-wise, we are not that good as, for example, the U.S. that may have a little bit more spare change. Yeah, it's lovely. I have been able to not only locally interact with people that I will have never even met in real life otherwise, but like today, I'm interacting with you guys from all over the globe. As mentioned before, I got to interact with the Global Resistance when they called me to help with the Malaga translation, and it's just an amazing social trip that I have been going through. It's one of the things I believe I'm not yet level 16. We just reached 2 or 3 level 16s in Costa Rica, 2 online and 1 Resistance, and that's not my game anymore. I don't want to go to the higher level. I'd rather gather up the community and try to do more like cross-faction meetups. The fact of the matter, the Ingress First Saturday, I have here the banner. There are 5 Ingress First Saturday straight back to back, and we're preparing for the 6th, which is going to be the 1st year anniversary for Ingress First Saturday's events. So we want to make something really big and try to call out as many agents as possible, especially the new ones, so that we can interact with the new people, add them to our community, and make this even something like an example to people, like saying you can still have healthy playing out with other people, and technology can be also a part of it. Because I don't know if it has happened to you, a lot of people demonize technology like this is what is making us not socialize. This is what preventing you from speaking with the person in front of you, but instead of you're texting about dinner. That Ingress is still technology and has made all of us talk to each other, gather around, know what everybody is going through, helping to organize even just a trip somewhere or a meal somewhere. not just necessarily to play, but socialize. And that's amazing to me, how that augmented reality really grasps on everything that has to be social with the game.
Exactly, that's the magic of Ingress to turn out the video world and the video game world that makes you play alone or in your house to put it out in the streets and build a community of people that is face to face, and that's amazing. And well, for everyone watching, you can submit questions for our guest. So you have to go. Well, if you are watching us on YouTube, you just have to click on the banner at the bottom of the video that says "Be part of the conversation," and from there you just have to click on the square grid menu icon in the upper right and select Q&A and ask whatever you want. We are almost there in questions for our guests.
But one thing I'm interested about, talking about the social parts of Ingress, how, this would be a good question for you, Calderon. What do you think glyphing has affected the game? Because that's something that we debate about a lot in our area, is whether or not the increased yield from glyphing has hurt the socialness as much, because people aren't as willing to farm, do our normal go out and do group farming. Instead, people want to sit around and do glyph farming, and that's not even so much social because people often don't want you to talk to them. You don't want to disturb them while they're trying to do the glyphs. Do you think glyphing has helped or hurt it?
Well, it has done both. I mean, there are people like me which kind of multitask, but if you know, nobody truly multitask. What I mean by this is that at least I'm at a level glyph hacking, and plenty of my peers here at Costa Rica can tell you that we go to a farm, we start hacking, and I will just do the glyph hacking. And I don't care so much about getting it perfect, though I cannot do. And if somebody's speaking to me, I will respond to them. If one of the sequences is too hard, then I will ask them for about a minute to finish the glyph hacking, and then we continue the conversation. It hasn't really hurt that much, but there are also some people it was already hard for them to come to join the rest of the group, and now with glyph hacking, and they already don't have that much of a struggle maintaining the coverage of their area, that with glyph hacking, they tend to stay more at their one location that gather up with everybody. So it really depends on the agents themselves. What are their capabilities? I, for one, will continue to do glyph hacking and still socializing as much as I can. It's fun to me, juggling with remembering what was on the scanner and what was told to me while doing this. Sometimes I even give an additional layer while listening to music doing all of this. So I'm weird.
All right, let's. We're running a bit long, so we're gonna cut out some of these questions that we talked about earlier. So Jorge, why don't you go ahead and ask question number 12?
Sure. Well, this will be our last question before we take viewer questions. So, since you describe yourself, Polderong, as a live agent Ingress wiki, who is your favorite Ingress character and why?
Well, I have to go with PH Chapeau, aka Richard H. Loeb, mostly because when all of this started and I knew about Ingress, there was this one page, what is the Niantic project, which he started up, and even had some Peter data messages. That's how I really became involved with all of this story arc that Ingress has, and I went to check and develop this concept. What is going to be next week on what is an Niantic project? What is today's information? How this ties up to last week or yesterday's information? And it is a major player for Ingress. I mean, not only did he created part of the code for Omnivore, but it is the one that created the human attributes for Ada when the Niantic project summoned him before the Niantic was even known as Niantic. He was not on the Epiphany Night, no, but he's a major player in all of this. Like, always in the shadows, always in the know. He is tied up to everything Niantic is and has given us this door to explore what is the Niantic project from the beginning. It's also our means to be introduced to all of the other characters. This is how we met Clue. This is how we met Anne Johnson. I mean, without that first page, I guess not that many people have been checking out daily for more information, or will have checked out if there was a YouTube video that involved Ingress. It's so rich what's happening at the beginning of Ingress, thanks to Richard Life and his What is the Niantic Project website, that I cannot fail to emphasize his big role on making all of us agents involved on the first era.
Okay, so Joanne, since you are level 16, how do you think levels passed that should be obtained?
I have given a little bit of thought to this because there is kind of a joke in our area, and I don't know if it's nationwide, that once people hit 16, they tend to retire. There's definitely a doldrums that kind of happens. For me, I took a couple months off just to spend more time with my family so they kind of know what my face looked like again. But once you reach level 16, it really comes down to future motivation. I mean, there's definitely some people that are motivated by having a high AP total, like Weasel, or having all badges of a certain color, like Weasel. He's definitely one of my mentors here, you know, one of our level 16 barcodes. But unless you're motivated by AP or badges, there's not a lot to motivate you. I mean, I have all gold, with the exception of my forever locked recruiter and the seer, which will never reach silver because they shut it down with 10 to go. But platinum just isn't a huge priority for me. I'll get there someday in the midst of the playing, but I'm not really pushing for that. So instead of new badges, we need new levels, I think, and to make them matter. I mean, I'm not really sure how to. I haven't given too much thought into it. It would have to be well thought out to avoid unbalancing the game. But yeah, like I've said before, it's kind of embarrassing to admit to people that all I can do is hold an extra power cube and charge portals, you know, a little farther across the country. That's the only benefits I get from being a level 16. How they might do it, maybe they should definitely make new levels with progressive levels of AP, and maybe add a badge color beyond black. Some people would definitely level right away. I believe that's what happened when they released 9 through 16. But others like us would have something new to work towards. I mean, there are some agents. I don't know if anyone has reached all Onyx yet. I know there's probably some that are close. What are those agents going to do? What are they going to be motivated by when they reach that point? I just sincerely hope that that's something Niantic is considering with the number of agents that are starting to reach 16 and higher badge levels.
I guess with the new Ingress store, maybe we can see some like new weapons that you can only buy because you are in certain level, and maybe it could go in that way. But yes, you are right. I think there's basically two kind of players in this game. Those that goes for the AP and those that just love the community, and those that love AP are those ones that are getting retired when they get to 16. So maybe they have to use their imaginations to build up, I don't know, 3, 4 new levels with interesting things there. So, well, it's time for viewer questions, right?
Yeah, you guys want to dive in and take some of the viewer questions?
Sure.
All right. Don't sound too enthusiastic about it. So, for those of you watching at home, don't forget you can submit questions via the Q&A app. And if you are in our IRC chat room, which behindthescanner.com, click on chat, you can ask questions in there, and we will relay those on to our guests. So, the first one is from Blades Edge NC for Dragon Moose. If you worked for Niantic, how would you improve a Flash Shard event?
Oh, that's kind of an interesting question. I'm not really sure I'm in a position to how to improve it because it was such a new event and, we weren't really used to it. Definitely more information ahead of the time. We weren't really knowing what to expect. That would be something I'd have to give some more thought to. I mean, I really enjoyed it for what it was. I just wish we had had more people on the ground. I think a lot of people were scared away by the fact that it was a Shards event, and a lot of people just have, not really interested in playing Calvin Ball. But I mean, I really want to say for future Shard events, anyone watching, it is a different game. It's definitely fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, make the Anomaly something different. Definitely. I mean, I can't really think. I know there were 2 target portals. Maybe they could make it 1, but I don't know how that would definitely change the game for better or worse. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the event we had in Houston.
Ooh, what about a 3rd neutral target portal?
That would be interesting.
We'll see. All right. So, as a follow-up question, Blades Edge wants to know, is that a Minecraft sword in your background?
Yes, it is. And there's also a Nerf, I don't know, is that a Morningstar Thought? And a Master Sword.
Nice. There you go.
Yes.
All right. So, this is for Palderong. Let's see. Do you have any geographic issues? This came from our chat room. Do you have any geographic issues based on Costa Rica's location? And how do you overcome them? And I'm guessing it's more of a Costa Rica seems to be. It's not like New York City where you have a dense amount of portals, right? And there's mountains, and it might make it a little bit difficult at times to do baths. How do you guys sort of do those things?
That's a really good question because being on such a small area as Costa Rica, it's a really difficult job. I mean, you have basically to cover the whole country to really categorize it as a BAP. We do tend to cover full cities here. They will never be as comparable as a Texas one. So we have done a few that actually are cross countries. What I mean by this is that not only covers Costa Rica but goes borders. One of these examples is last April 11th. We sent a field from Costa Rica all the way to Mexico, and it was really good one. We had the opportunity, thanks to a work travel for one of our agents that was just over those dates, was able to go there. We clean up our lanes down from the coast of Costa Rica, and we basically cover most water, as plenty of buffs like Megalodon has done in the past. Of course, this wasn't as big as that one. Yes, we have some issues to make buffs, definitely.
Very cool. All right. Yeah, there's definitely challenges all over the place. Doesn't matter. I mean, could be Costa Rica, it could be the United States. You've got to overcome the limitations, the constraints that are in front of you. All right.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see here. How about this one is for Dragon Moose from Makto, M-A-K-T-O.
Macto.
There you go. How does it feel playing with the barcodes where the phenomenon got started? And I guess, are you aware? Well, you're friends with Weasel, so obviously you're aware.
Well, I guess I'll explain it for people that don't understand and aren't from the Dallas area. The barcodes are a group of agents, and they use a combination of capital I's and lowercase L's for their names. So when in comms, they look like a bunch of lines, they look like barcodes, but in reality, they're different people. There's a lot of different controversy about the barcodes. Some people believe they use their names to cheat. I, in my example, have found the opposite. A lot of people chose the barcode name and to join the group to fight back against persecution. They were being sought out in comms. They're just a little sub-faction within the game. I mean, it's like any other group of people. There's some I get along with. There's some people I don't get along with. They're all, you know, in general, I'm a really good friend with most of the barcodes. They're a really great group of people. But yeah, there's mostly in Dallas, but I do know they're kind of spread out here and there. There's even like a blue barcode or two out there. But yeah, it's, you know, when I started, I was, you know, knowing barcodes all the time, and they're just a great group of people. I mean, definitely people listening to this, they're either going to be nodding their heads or shaking their heads, and that's just how it is. But it's just really interesting. Sometimes sub-factions arise up within the game for different reasons, and I don't know, there's once in a while you see a petition on G+ that they should be banned, but I don't see anything wrong with the barcodes.
Yeah, I mean, I think like with anything, you're going to get people that misappropriate something or try to corrupt it, you know, take advantage of it. And there's definitely some people who have used the barcode name or format for illegitimate reasons on purpose. But
I will say, of all the groups I've known, they are really hyper vigilant about that.
Yes.
They will be the first ones to call out any of their own that they see cheating. They'll be the first ones to, you know, even within the community. So by and large, of the barcodes that I know, you know, they are some of the most scrupulously honest players that I've dealt with.
So my point was going to be that I don't think the people that are going to be doing that are just, they'd be doing it regardless, and they're just co-opting that sort of anonymous mechanism, and they're not really barcodes. They're just barcodes by format. The barcodes I know, yeah, they play above reproach and are amazing. There's barcodes on both factions now, so.
Right, yeah.
And there's the binary folks and the hex folks and all these other crazy things as well too. So
yeah, there's disasters. There's all sorts of
I mean,
factions.
Yeah, people are going to be trolls, you know, but just don't paint an entire, you know, population with a broad brush just because you have a bad reaction. I mean, if we're going to go down that road, then I don't trust any resistance player because I know of a resistance count that was spoofing, right? That's the logic that there, and
Right.
that doesn't really make sense. So
Yeah, that's just the main thing. It's like you know, there's barcodes that are awesome people. There's barcodes that are jerks. But, you know, that goes for any group of Ingress players that you get in a room.
yeah, absolutely.
So that's how it is.
The only resistance person I don't trust is Jorge. Well, I'm sorry. What did you say for?
That kind of thing also happens here. I mean, I believe it's global that at some point, if any singular agent broke the code of good playing, then the other faction, for some reason, well, sometimes it's reasonable to know why, they start going against the other group from where that agent was from, and start like making this whole deal that because one agent did it, then the whole faction is tainted. It happens everywhere. I see it. It's one of the things that unfortunately makes this a little harder to sometimes share. because there's so much hating without really meeting. We're all people. You alignment, I resistance. We're humans, and we have to coexist and hopefully make it like something social, something good, something which we can both enjoy. And in the end of the day, those who cheat are cheating on themselves. They're making the worst experience for themselves because they're not socializing with others, and they're gaining all of these bad things that, in the end of the day, they have to deal with themselves. We can just walk them on the scanner and continue our day.
Yeah, I think I find personally that it's not so much the cross-faction animosity that tends to be the most caustic. I tend to find the interfaction politics and animosity to be the most caustic. And maybe because it's more personal. You're green, you're expecting your green brethren to be objective and not be subjective, but that's not always the case. So we could talk about this topic for another 5 hours if we wanted to, but let's move on. So the last question, where did it go? It is going to be for Agent Polderong. What is the most dangerous portal that you have tried to get to? I would imagine, Costa Rica being Costa Rica, that there's some up in the mountains or something, maybe by, do you guys have volcanoes? I don't know.
We have plenty of volcanoes actually, and some of them are portals. But personally, the one that actually was a riskier one was one of our agents decided to go about 1 a.m. in the morning to a very, very remote location where there was this anchor portal that has been used over and over again to fill over the whole city. So we started our trip about 1 a.m., got there by 2 a.m. It is high up in the mountain. There is a hotel, a chalet, and by the time we get there, we had already lost our way about 2-3 times in the woods. So when we finally get there, it's all dark, it's freezing, it's almost raining, and we get out of the car, and we found out none of our devices had data available on them. And we had 3 different ISPs. We were 4 agents on that group, and none of our 3 ISPs, which are the main ISPs for Costa Rica, had any data coverage there. We had cell phone, but no data. So we were kind of bummed at that situation. We were freezing. We had lost our way like 2-3 times already. It's about to rain. We hadn't really slept well. And out of the blue, somebody decides to check on Wi-Fi. And guess what? We had 1 bar, just 1 teensy tiny bar of Wi-Fi free access coming from the hotel. So with that 1 bar, we had to be bouncing our scanners over fence of wires. So we had to be very careful not to go too leaning into the wires, or we will get caught. And that's how we were able to burst our XMPs, destroy the portal, and capture it for the day. Now, this was a lot of fun to do, obviously because of the hour we did it and the distance that you have to go through, how remote the portal was. Just the next morning, we were called cheaters. Fortunately enough, we did took some pictures to prove it. But yeah, that has been our riskiest trip ever because of the hour, the weather, no data coverage, and just the precarious circumstances that were required in order to take ownership of that portal.
Definitely sounds like an adventure. I just not to end on a somber note, but when you guys go out, and this is for everybody, when you go out to places like that, please keep your own personal safety in mind. If you can, go with more than 1 person. Make sure somebody knows where you're going to go to. If you don't have data, I don't know how you can know that beforehand, but if you're not aware, Enlighten lost an agent in Ireland, Frank Maxwell, Agent Rivresco, who was playing late at night by a lighthouse on a pier, and unfortunately lost his life. Great guy, phenomenal guy. He was a former guest of ours, and his family has asked people to spread the message of just, I don't think he wasn't really in a dangerous spot. Nobody really knows what happened, but the fact that there was a delay from when he was last heard of in the Hangout to when he was located. Just try to let people know. Try to have a check-in. Every 30 minutes. If you can, check in with your ops folks, that sort of thing, because nobody wants to wake up and see the G Plus or the Facebook messages that somebody that you've become close with, over the last couple of years, has
definitely
passed away.
First.
So yeah, always keep that in your mind and try to play safe. So all right.
That unfortunately reminds me of the first agent that at least I knew that was his wife while playing Ingress on Brazil was hit by a car while looking at
Yes.
cameras.
Yes, I remember that. So it's it's unfortunately something that can occur. So just being aware of your surroundings and keeping your safety first. And you don't have to be going into the middle of the woods to have this happen. Ingress is a global game, so even gathering with people of 3 or more in a group in some countries will get you arrested because they don't allow people to gather in groups. Just be safe out there when you go to play Ingress. That's all we gotta say. So with that, hopefully we can end on a chipper note. It's time for our BTS tradition. For better or for worse, we give every guest at the end of their interview about 60 seconds to talk about whatever they want. Whenever you're ready, Agent Polderon, why don't you start?
Okay. So one of those things that are kind of curious is that since I've been more active thanks to Ingress, because I used to be a couch potato all day, either on my laptop or on TV. This kind of app has given me this reason to go walk. And since I do go identified with these shirts and everything, people turn their heads. Now, they used to turn their heads anyways before, because for my country, I'm actually kind of tall. In meters, I'm 192, 1 meter 92. That roughly is 6.2, 6.3 feet. So some people even believe that I'm not from here, and they're trying to ask me where I'm from. And when I respond in our cultural language with all this slang that we have, they're just shocked. Like, are you for real? I hear you, but I still cannot believe you're part of my country, being almost 20 centimeters taller than most people. The average here is about 5'6", 5'7". So I mean 6'2", 6'3". It does make a noticeable difference to everybody. I have bumped into house doors that are too small for me to fit. That's always hilarious.
I know the feeling, being 6'4" and hitting my head on many doors and basements and everything else. So, all right, well, thank you. Joanne, why don't you go next?
I guess mainly I just want to give shout outs. 60 seconds is not enough to thank every agent that's helped me throughout the thing. Definitely my very understanding family. The Moose, Ender Dragon, and Pika Dragon. Those are my kids. They wanted to be dragons instead of mooses. I really love that. Definitely local groups, Battletoads, Emerald Knights, Barcodes. The local res that keep me entertained and supplied with AP. Sephiroth, Magladek, Roy2, and everyone else for supporting me. You know who you are. Hashtag blame Musto. I did change my hair. Nobody noticed. Hashtag blame Brock. I need my own hashtag. I mean, you know, that we were talking about this today, and I also really want to encourage people to go out to your events. If you can travel, do it. People will carpool. They will let you stay in their hotel rooms. I will be in I am leaving tomorrow morning to go to Little Rock. I will be in NOLA in November. I will be in Fort Worth, which is my home territory, in December. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to see you. Come out, say hi. I'm friendly. Doesn't matter which faction. You know, this game is just for everyone to get together and have fun at the end of the day when all the portals are whatever color they want to. Because we're people.
Nicely said. We're all people behind the scanner. Kind of the point of the show.
Imagine that.
It's crazy.
Not all AI.
Talking about people, I almost forgot to shout out. Unless you want me murdered too, let me just three shout outs here. So three agents actually asked me for it. So Tony, Leo Rowing, World Superfang, hi there. And for the rest of Costa Rica Resistance, Viva Costa Rica, we're ticos. Thanks.
No problem. We gotta get that in. We don't want you getting shot. So.
Thank you so much, Joanne.
It was a lot of fun.
Great guests, great speakers, and we're really glad with us tonight.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Happy hacking.
Happy hacking.
I need to go do that. I'm going to lose my Sojourner.
I know.
Don't do that. I lost it.
Oh, I screwed mine up.
Yeah, it's one of those difficult things to keep going. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's almost harder than the Guardian badge.
All together.
Yeah.